Right then, you see that black stain on the wall? That is not dirt. That is the sun's calling card. When I first came to Thailand, I thought the sun was my friend. I was a fool. A pasty, optimistic fool. The weather here is not a holiday. It is a slow motion demolition project. And just between us, back in Blighty, we think we know hot. We do not have a clue. Welcome, you poor, sun-depraved souls, to the little corner of the world. My name is Gerald, and I have been living here in the Isaan region of Thailand for longer than I care to remember. I am a grumpy old Englishman, a refugee from a land of grey skies and reasonable temperatures, who now finds himself in a place where the air itself feels like a warm, wet blanket that someone has just used to smother a volcano. Now, I see you all on holiday, slathering on that factor 50, lying on a beach like beach whales trying to get a tan. You think you understand the sun. You think a week in Benidorm or that day in July when the mercury hit 25 degrees in London qualifies you for tropical life. You poor deluded creatures. You view the sun as a luxury, something to be chased, worshipped, and captured in a selfie. Here in Isaan, the sun is not a luxury. It is a bloody despot. It is relentless, oppressive, destructive force of nature which wakes up every morning with a personal vendetta against everything I own. That is where the big misunderstanding begins. I see it all the time in the comments in the forums, even in the bewildered faces of new arrivals. Why does everything look so grubby? Why don't they just fix it? On the other hand, my personal favourite, this place is a building site. It's so neglected. However, here is a question I want you to hold in your mind and do not rush to answer. If a building looks like it's been through a war, and it has been, who's really the loser, the building or the people who think a lick of paint will solve everything? Let me paint you a picture literally. However, before I do that, be advised, this is a story inspired by my experiences and observations, not my life or anyone else's. You're hearing my real voice, though the visuals are AI generated. With that clarified, let us get back to the narrative and the facts that make it worth telling. Therefore, let me start with those black streaks. You see them everywhere in Bangkok and all over Isaan, on concrete walls, on the sides of shop fronts, on the paths. To a Westerner, it looks like decades of soot, mould, or the owner just not caring enough to break out the bleach. Now, a part of you might be thinking, well, Gerard, it is so sunny here, surely the intense UV radiation just bakes all that organic muck away, does it not? That is logical. That is very European of you. It is also spectacularly wrong. That black stain is not your average household mould. Oh no, that is a highly specialized, incredibly hardy strain of cyanobacteria. It is an ancient microscopic survivor which has been on this planet since before the dinosaurs, and it has no intention of being defeated by a bit of sunlight. You see, out here, the sun does not bake things clean. It forces them to adapt. The UV radiation is so relentless that this bacteria has developed a dark, pigment-rich outer sheath. It is the biological equivalent of wearing the thickest, darkest sunglasses and a full-body wetsuit. The sun is so powerful that it literally forces this organism to turn black to survive. It is not a stain, it is a survivor's badge of honour. The sun has essentially bullied it into becoming a creature of darkness. So, what does it need to thrive? Moisture. Lucky for it, this country has humidity that could drown a fish, and monsoon rains that come down as if God is trying to power wash the planet. It feeds on this, using the tiny porous surface of the concrete as an anchor. You can pressure wash it, and for a week it will look lovely. You can paint over it, and for a few months it will look pristine. Nevertheless, until you are willing to remortgage your house to buy the industrial strength, antifungal, anti-algae, biocidal super coatings they use on nuclear bunkers, that black will be back before the first mangoes of the next season are ripe. However, the stains are just the beginning, the ascetic warning shot across your bow. The real damage is far more insidious. Let us talk about the other casualties in this war. You see a PVC window frame over there in a British house. That frame would outlive your grandchildren. Here, give it a few years and it becomes so brittle and discoloured that you could snap a chunk off it and eat it with your tea like a stout plastic-rich biscuit. I call them crisp windows. High-grade roof tiles which you would expect to last for half a century. Their protective glaze is cooked off within a few years, turning them a dull, lifeless grey. They do not just fade, they lose their structural integrity. Besides, this brings me to another point of misunderstanding. People often think it is worse in Bangkok, the urban heat island effect they call it. All that concrete and pollution trapping the heat, and they are wrong. Bangkok is a sauna, yes, but it is a consistent city-wide sauna. Here in Isaan, we have the extremes. We have the mind-melting 40-plus degree heat of April, which seems to last for an eternity, only to be followed by the cool season when temperatures can plummet to a comparatively chilly 15 degrees at night. Now that sounds lovely, does it not? A reprieve. However, for your house, it is a nightmare. The extreme seasonal swing is a nightmare for building materials. It is like taking a piece of wood, leaving it in a hot oven, then suddenly throwing it in the fridge. You do that repeatedly, day after day, year after year. The expansion and contraction put an insane amount of stress on everything. That small crack you see in a render is not neglect. That is material fatigue. That is the building equivalent of a hard-working man who has had enough and is just falling apart. Let me show you the state of my own curtains. What were once a vibrant shade of maroon are now a sorry, washed-out pink. However, it is not just the colour, you see. The literal fibres have been cooked to the point where they have lost all their tensile strength. The other day I went to close them and material just tore in my hand like wet paper. That is what the sun does. It does not just fade your clothes, it destroys the very fabric of reality. Now, I know what you are thinking. Oh, Gerald, you grumpy old man, you're exaggerating. It is just weather. We have weather in England. Do you? Do you really? When you have weather that actively destroys bricks and mortar, then you can talk. When your weather is a biological weapon that turns buildings into a canvas for prehistoric bacteria, then you can lecture me. Here, keeping the building looking pristine is not a matter of pride or regular maintenance. It is a daily, expensive war against the coalition of biology and radiation. Besides, biology and radiation are winning. So, the next time you see a video or a picture from Thailand and you catch yourself thinking, my word, that building looks a bit neglected, or why can't they just keep it clean? I want you to remember this. Remember that you are looking at the world through a European or North American lens. A lens where a stone cottage can sit unaltered for 50 years, accumulating just a bit of moss and a charming rustic feel. A lens where hot is a nice day for a barbecue and humid means you might feel a bit sticky. You look at a grimy building in the tropics, and you see neglect. You see a lack of pride. You see people not caring enough. Nevertheless, you are wrong. Dead wrong. The locals and the long-term residents like myself look at that exact same building and we see a veteran. We see a survivor. We see a structure that has stood its ground and said, I'm still here, aren't I? The concrete stains are not a sign of structural weakness. They are a testament to the building living in the real world. The battle is futile, but we fight it anyway. That is the spirit of the people, I suppose. We are just trying to keep our heads above water, or in this case, above the black streaks. Now, if you will excuse me, I have a date with a pressure washer and a very determined patch of algae. I do not expect to win, but a grumpy old man has to have a hobby. So, what about you? Have you had your own personal war with the sun? Have you ever pulled a t-shirt out of the wardrobe only to have it disintegrate in your hands? Let me know in the comments. I need to know I am not the only one losing this fight. On top of that, if you like this little grumpy rant, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe. It might not help the sun from melting my roof tiles, but it will make an old man and YouTube's algorithm feel a bit better about it. Bye bye.